Atlantica SuperSplash is one of two water coasters at Europa Park. This is the newer and taller of the two. But is it the better one? Find out in this review. Mack debuted their water coasters back in 1998 with Journey to Atlantis at SeaWorld Orlando. This model had boats with 2 across seating, and the rides often had large, sprawling layouts. The second such installation of this ride opened at Europa Park in 2000. The ride was named Poseidon and placed in the Greece section. A few years later, Mack developed a variant on the water coaster known as the SuperSplash. This more closely resembled the Chutes rides. Guests would be seated in larger, 4 across boats. The base layout was more compact and simplistic, and the ride often would use turntables to shrink the boat's turning radius, while adding some extra thrills. The prototype went to Europa Park in 2005. It would be named Atlantica SuperSplash, and was placed in the Portuguese section, quite a ways from Poseidon. This coaster makes quite the impression. It is the focal point of one of the park's smallest lands. The blue track really pops on a sunny day. The boats then are these ornate ships. And speaking of ships, there are some shipwrecks and rocks adjacent to the attraction. Then the lower part of the attraction is in this giant pool with crystal clear water. And there are also these dolphin statues. They are quite vocal, and whenever a boat passes by, they often spray riders. Then the station is located inside this fancy castle. The entrance for the ride is through a ship. Then the ride features a long, multi-level queue with a good amount of theming at least. But it's easy to avoid a long wait with this ride. If you head here early or late in the day, it is often just a 5 to 10 minute wait. As with most water rides, the line spikes midday when it's the hottest, and it can hit the 20 to 30 minute mark most days. Like most rides at Europa Park, this ride has very good capacity. Each boat has 4 rows of 4, seating a max of 16 guests. Then the ride has 6 boats, and most will be on the course at a given time. And the park has very fast dispatches. Some seating notes. Riders are free to choose any row they'd like when they reach the station. The very back is slightly better for forces, but the wetness can vary quite a bit by row and seat. This is important to consider because all bags must ride with you. The front row, particularly the 2 end seats, are the wettest seats in the ride by far. Your shoes may come off dry, but everything else will be quite moist. In most other rows, the splash is still wet, but considerably milder. The thing that gets you the wettest is that aforementioned dolphin. The driest seat specifically is the back right. You are the furthest from the dolphin. Then the seats are wider than most other water rides on the market. Then each rider is secured by their own individual lap bar. These are comfortable. Once checked, you immediately climb up the 98-foot or 30-meter tall lift hill. You get a good view of the resort's hotels off to the left and Vodon off to the right. At the top, you go directly into a turntable. This is a pretty freaky visual up front. There's no railing in the front of you, so it feels as if you'll careen over the edge. Then the turntable engages almost immediately, rotating you counterclockwise. Whenever I've ridden this attraction, it rotates just 90 degrees, but I've seen some POVs where it rotates 470 degrees. This adds more suspense if you are not familiar with the layout. When you stop, you are staring at the Castillo Alcazar Hotel. Then you drop backwards. It's a small dip, but it can induce a bit of a falling sensation from the backwards motion. You then meekly climb upwards into another turntable. This one also engages quickly, rotating you 90 degrees counterclockwise. This brings you face to face with the ride's largest drop by far. The drop is sizable for a water ride, but not quite as wild as Mack's other water coasters. On several other water coasters from them, such as Poseidon, the ride takes longer to reach its max angle of descent, resulting in nice airtime when it happens. On Atlantica SuperSplash, the boat more quickly reaches its max angle, so you just get a little floater in the back row. In the other rows, it feels more like your average flume drop, just larger. Solid speed is built up though. Then there's a good head chopper at the bottom, as the drop pierces underneath of Bunny Hill and Vodon. Then immediately afterwards, there's a speed hill. This offers really nice weightlessness across the boat, and it also charges through a ship's mast, which is another fun visual. You then have the big splashdown. The wave is colossal and drenching for onlookers. It's not too bad on ride unless you're in those front edge seats. Then you pass the dolphin. On cooler days, the dolphin can fire before or after the boat passes, keeping guests on ride dry. But in the summer season, the dolphin will likely hit the boat. You then slowly, and I mean slowly, float back to the station. This ends the 1,280 foot or 390 meter long experience. That's not a lot of track, but the ride does have a lengthy 4-minute duration due to the lift hill, the turntables, and the water sections padding the runtime. So understandably, this ride does not have the sharpest pacing, especially when compared with a roller coaster, but the flow feels more similar to a log flume. Last but not least, I want to touch on the smoothness. A few Mack water coasters have a shuffle, namely on the twisting drops. SuperSplash has no such curving drops, so it ends up being a very smooth ride start to finish. So what would I rate Atlantica SuperSplash? I would give this ride a 4 out of 10. This is a below average water coaster. It is still a fun ride though, but the layout is basic for the genre. I prefer the ones with more ambitious layouts or more impactful drops. That being said, I would definitely take this over your average Shoot the Chutes ride. It has a bit more to it with the turntables, and the way the splash gets you wet is more comfortable. If I want to ride a water coaster at Europa Park, I would pick Poseidon, especially because the retrack work in recent years fixed the shuffle I mentioned in my old review. Then if I want to ride a water ride in general, I would also pick the park's log flume and River Rapids ride over SuperSplash. I find those rides more scenic and exciting. I don't always ride Atlantica SuperSplash, but I'll take a spin every few visits if the wait is short when I walk past it. Mack has built 8 SuperSplashes to date. Most have the same layout as the prototype, but there are a few with original layouts. 2 of them don't actually show up in RCDB though, as they lack any drops outside the final splashdown sequence, but I've seen several other sites count them as credits. So those are my thoughts on Atlantica SuperSplash at Europa Park. What are your thoughts on this coaster, or one of the clones elsewhere? How would you compare it to the other water rides out there? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.